Hello, friends. Good morning. Oh, my hair is such a mess. I woke up like 15 minutes ago. It's 10 o'clock. It's Saturday, the 30th, tomorrow, New Year's. And I wanted to make a reading vlog, trying to finish all the books that I've started this year. It's a little bit of a lie. I started so many books that I actually want to finish. I'm so tired, I'm sorry. Some of them is just not going to be doable for this video, but a lot of them I'm like really close to the end, which is like this weirdest part. And there are kind of like a mishmash of books, 3 short story collections, 1 poetry collection, and a comic. And I thought maybe today I would just like kind of plow through them because I want to feel like tomorrow I'm starting fresh. It's a new year after tomorrow. And I don't need to have these soiling up my currently reading page because yeah, I'm just so close to the end that it just feels stupid to have them there. So when the sun's out in winter like this, are you gonna be able to see? Maybe it's gonna be a little dramatic. We can do that now. So this is a short story or anthology that I just started, so I'm actually not gonna include this one, even though it is on my currently reading list and it has been like for the last month, but I'm only this much through. So I think this is gonna have to carry over for next year. But then the rest of these books, oh, it's so nice. Also today, to keep us going, I got my reading fuel mug. I have this book, The New Fuck You, Adventures in Lesbian Reading, edited by Eileen Myers and Liz Kotz. So this is like just an anthology of lesbian literature, but most of them take place like before the 2000s, like they're kind of like older lesbian literature. And I'm really close to the end. I only have this much left. And the reason why I haven't finished it is because I have kind of been reading a story here, a story there, in between my other reads, and I just like actually don't like it. But I'm so close to the end. I don't want to DNF it, and because they're like it's an anthology, and they're short stories, you never know if you're actually gonna like the next one, you know. So this is what I'm gonna be reading today, and then Time is a Mother by Ocean Byung. This is a poetry collection, and I have never read another book by theirs, but I have been reading this one like on and off for the last year. And when it comes to poetry, I don't really think you need to like read from page to page, you know, you just read it whenever. But I just like don't really understand poetry, so I think I'll just finish this today. There's been some really nice ones. I think I've tabbed them. I've tabbed some. That's fun. And then we have this one, which I think actually I have had on my currently reading for like 2 years, because this was the last book we ever read together as the climate fiction book club, or tried to read together. Olaf is on a mission to dig out the hay box at every chance he gets, and it's driving me crazy, but that's what you're hearing. I only have this much left, so I don't know how many short stories there are. This is also an anthology from African writers about climate fiction. And this I was really enjoying, I think. I mean, on and off, obviously, but it's just a pity I haven't finished it. And so there's like 80 pages left of this one. And then lastly, the comic. This is M.O.M by Emilia Clarke. So obviously I was interested in this because of Emilia Clarke. And this cover is just really, really stunning. And I actually used this as an inspiration for like a drag look that I did as well, because I just thought it was really cool. But this one, I'm like also like halfway through, maybe more. Yeah, more than halfway through. And it's like a comic. And the reason I think I stopped this one is because I wasn't really connecting to the story. It kind of had this vibe that some comics have where it's hard to understand what's going on. This is our reading plans for today. I am going to sit back, read, and I'm going to charge my battery because it's blinking already. Off to a good start. I've moved into the living room now. So I'm currently reading this one, The New Fuck You. I think when I picked this up, I thought it would be a little different, considering fuck is in the title, adventures are in the B title, and this picture of Wilma and whatever the other one's called, naked fucking, is in the back. I thought it would be like a little bit more spicy, but really it's like a collection of like more like underground lesbian poetry slash autofiction. This anthology contains like stories that are less than 100 pages, I would say. So they're very concise and short. And because it's all kind of unknown stuff and authors, as far as I know, it's very like specific and alternative, and all have like an amateur vibe to it. But they're all like creative and good. But I just think like this is not really my vibe or the type of literature like I like. But I think it's like if you do like more like historical queer texts that are not historical texts, but like historical pieces that like haven't been published, or like bringing light to like small writers that have gone unnoticed. Like if you like that sort of like niche literature, and especially like if you like poetry, like I think this is going to be great for you. I wish I was that person. Yeah, I really wish I was a person. Every now and then I get to like a story or a poem that I'm like, wow, this is so good. And it's very interesting because for me it really ranges from like 5-star pieces to like 1 star, and there seems to be very little of like mediocre thoughts for me on like all the pieces that are in here, which I find really interesting because I just read one piece that was so long and droning, and like all the pages were like this, and it's all like very creative and you don't really know what's going on. But then I read like a poem that I thought was just like absolutely amazing. This poem right here where my pinky is, it's called Lure, by an author called Cynthia Nelson. Maybe she's well known, and I don't know. But yeah, it's not really spicy. It's more just like everyday stuff. Some of them don't even feel lesbian, but are written by like lesbian writers. So I think this is a really cool thing to exist. I just don't think it's for me, which I think is so unfortunate. But yeah, every now and then I stumble upon something that I'm just obsessed with. So it's very, very up and down roller coaster. So I am excited to finish this, because if I find the right person, I would love to recommend this. I just read this really nice, comprehensible, I guess, poem called Imagine Being More Afraid of Freedom Than Slavery, which is a poem, but it's like, reads a little bit more like slam poetry. I enjoyed it. Actually, I only have one story left called From the Story of Junk by Linda Jablonski, and then I'm done with it. But first, I'm actually going to make myself a cheese toasty for lunch, because I'm hungry. Yeah, it's a grocery haul. Wait. Do you want to show? Wow. Wow, yummy meals.
All of them are paneer.
Okay.
Ah, except that this one is called. And. Da da da. Da 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 da. Okay, bring the camera in. Wow.
Nice.
And if you know if these are fairy tale or graffiti eggplants, let me know.
Yes, we want to know. I feel like they could be either.
Fairy tale eggplants, I think they're longer.
Mm.
That's my only thing.
And you're making mango lassi tonight?
Yes.
Yeah. So I finished it, and the last story, while intriguing, also made me incredibly uncomfortable, and I didn't like it. But it was also part of like a novel, I believe. And I just don't like it when anthologies do that, where they put like an excerpt of a book inside the anthology. I understand why, but I just don't like it. But that means we finished our first book, and it's like late. I have nothing more to say about it. It was published in '95. If you like the stuff, good. You look nice.
Thank you. No filming.
Okay. What is this?
This?
Yeah.
It's a cube
Pistache.
croissant with pistachio filling. Oh.
Wow. So we're back in the bedroom. I got this new ring. So pretty. And I'm very ready to make it my entire personality. I finished Time is a Mother. And I would love to talk about poetry for a second, because I love poetry as like a practice. Like once when it comes to myself, to have a forum to like explore my feelings and thoughts through language. And a practice when reading and exploring language in itself and like for study. Like I love annotating a poem and like going over it like 20 times, reading it in different ways as like a study or a practice. And I have done that like with a couple of poems in the poetry collection Ariel by Sylvia Plath, which is why I never finished it, because I've like really dug into it. And I think like that is the way I like to consume poetry, like as a practice, as like a study. And I just like don't really enjoy reading poetry like page to page, because what happens, which I think is very natural, is that instead of understanding the poetry or like getting as much out of it as possible, I'm just feeling it, which is also completely fine. Like if you love reading poetry and just like feeling it rather than really understanding. Did you hear that? That was wild. You're not supposed to be doing fireworks, okay? So I'm gonna give this 3 stars because I always rate out of my enjoyment and not the actual quality of the book. I think this was like some of the better poetry I've read. So yeah, my fault, and not like for not, you know, sieving through it like I should have to really enjoy it. But I think it does make me feel a lot. Like it makes me feel the grief, the moving forwardness of like Ocean Vuong processing his mother's death and American culture and the relationship to it, and like all these other things like familiar relationships. And I feel it, but I'm just feeling like when I read poetry and just feel it, I feel like I'm missing so much, you know, because I know there's so much to it, the way it's structured, the word choice, the way, all the different ways you can read it, you know. So I think that's a little sad. And I think, I don't know if I'll ever, you know, go back and like properly enjoy it the way I like to enjoy it, you know, because I'm not passionate about poetry in that way, even though when I do it, it's nice. So I guess that's my review. This is my first finished work that I have read by this author. So I still haven't read On Earth We're Briefly Gorgeous, even though I've meant to for years. So yeah, but this means we're halfway through the vlog. It's like 5 o'clock. Excellent. But it's not completely true because I have read 2 stories in this one already. That's a lie. 3 stories. One of them I really enjoyed. It was called Enough by Nicholas A. Dam. This is like sci-fi, fantasy, dystopian, technology takes of the climate crisis, kind of. And some of them are really good, some of them not. You know, anthologies, not my thing. I do like short story collections because it's like one author, but there's just such a thing I feel like we all feel about when it comes to anthologies, that there's such hit or misses just because, yeah, it's different authors, you know. But yeah, I really liked Enough, and because we originally read this for the Climate Fiction Book Club, I actually highlighted a bunch of parts, quotes, passages, and stuff that I wanted to bring up in our live show that obviously never got discussed. That's kind of fun. So even though I don't remember like any individual story, because this was such a long time ago, like 1.5 years ago, maybe more, but that's fun that I've still highlighted some parts, you know. I have 4 stories left in this, and I still haven't started this. Bus driver, can you please open the doors? So I just finished one story called The Mother by Jacob Mahongo. Really good. Such a page turner. Wow, anthologies are such a hit or miss. Like with every story, you just never know what you're gonna get. But that one was excellent. Now I'm gonna read one that's called The Girl Who Left by Doreen Anyongo.
Would this be that, or would this be that? Which one?
The first one.
The first one?
Yeah.
Really? Yeah. Okay, okay. The first one. Da, da, da.
I just have one short story left in this one.
Alright.
And then I'm done.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow, indeed. Oh. I finished the book. I thought it was great. I think my review of this will definitely be warped by the fact that I really enjoyed the last stories I read. The last 3 were absolutely amazing. All the stories in this are super different, but they all have like a running theme that's so strong that I just like, it works as a collection. And I also have never read anything like this that focuses on climate change and all the feelings that come with it and all the political elements of it and the human elements of it is really, really strong in this one. And it's just great. It has a lot of quotes. The last one was kind of a more funny one, even though the metaphors were just like excellent. It was so good. Because it was a funny story, it just like ended on a good note, even though the message was like just really great. It was good. They're all good, but I will say there's a lot of trigger warnings for this just because it's a lot to read it, not only because of the themes, but because it tells it through very harrowing circumstances and people who are really, really suffering. So a lot of them are a lot, but it was great. I think I'm gonna give it like 3.75 stars, trying to take into consideration like what I thought about the book 1.5 years ago and what I just read, which was fantastic. I just think like the themes were very well explored in this, and if you're looking for something like this, I recommend it. But it's difficult, and I think reading one story every now and then is probably good for a collection like this, just because it is very triggering and emotional on so many levels. But I can't believe I finally finished it. I thought it would never happen. Wow, I only have one comic left to read, but I'm thinking that maybe I'll even have to start it from the start, just because I remember it being confusing. Because it's a comic, I think I can like afford to do that. But I'll look through it and we'll see. I remember this line from the first time I read this book. We're so obsessed with binaries, we think chocolate is the opposite of vanilla and cats are the opposite of dogs. So I am super glad I started this over again because I had literally forgotten so much. And I'm almost caught up to where I left off last time, which is great. And I'm not confused at all this time. I don't know why I thought it was confusing the first time around. But essentially you're following this single mom who has superpowers, and they're activated when certain like hormones get triggered, or like when her period comes around. Or if she gets like really emotional about a certain thing, and that those hormones that come with those feelings are activated in her body. And her superpowers are like standard ones, like she gets super strong, she gets invisible, she can morph her body, stuff like that. And so the way it's told is kind of like Fleabag, where she's breaking the fourth wall and she's like telling you about her story, also in like the middle of like action sequences, illustrated in this like very traditional comic way. And it's very feminist. The feminist commentary is very heavy-handed, but it's kind of like how it's supposed to be, I guess. But it's also funny and witty in its heavy-handedness. So I'm actually really enjoying it this time around, which I was not the first time around. I was kind of bored the first time around, which is sort of interesting because I'm not feeling that. I'm really liking it, and I'm super excited to keep reading. I'm so glad I didn't give up on this or just kept reading from where I was. I think I wouldn't have gotten into it, which just shows like how much your mood or like the time in your life, whatever, can affect what it is you're reading. Also, it's a sci-fi. It takes place in like 2046 or something, 2043, 2048. I don't know. Future. It's fun. It's fun. Now we're gonna eat dinner. I had this as made food, which is nice. We're gonna watch Survivor. So I finished it, and I thought it was so much better than the first time I read it. I think both the ending and the start was too short, or too long, I mean, and the action takes place in the middle, and it seems like they should have hinted more at like who the villain is and her backstory earlier on in the comic. And it's structured in a way where I feel like you have to be like used to reading comics to read this, because it's a lot of text, it's a lot of action, and you have to know exactly where everything, in the order everything goes. Quite a lot of information. It's very preachy in the feminist aspect, but it's also funny. Probably gonna give it like 3.5 stars. I enjoyed it, and I'm so glad I actually finally got to read it. Thank God. So I actually ended up finishing all the books that I wanted to read for this video, which is great. And another reason why I wanted to make this video, to also like finish this before the new year, reach my Goodreads goal, but also because I'm not going to be talking about these videos in like a separate wrap up, and I still want to have some sort of account of like all the books that I read, you know? So that's what this is for. You got to know a little bit about all these books. So thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed this little one-day vlog. Even with all the randomness of these books, I know they're very random, but this is the type of books that are left at the end of the year that I just never end up finishing. I wish you all a happy new year. It's already happened. Good luck in 2024. I believe in you. You got this. I'm ready for it. I will chat with you all soon. Wish you all the best. Bye.